Hi, guys. Thanks for everybody to coming over here. I know that this is a break in the day, but we did get our all-hands time back last time. Can folks on the conference bridge hear me?
Are they muted? They're muted.
Oh, they are muted. Well, I know we were having some trouble with it earlier, so I just want to make sure it's functioning. Perfect. Okay. Thank you, David. Well, before we get started, I want to thank all the groups that worked to make this happen. I know the Culture Crew has put a ton of effort into this. Ashley, Amanda, Dev, you guys have definitely been leading the charge, and Sabina in Germany and Michael Zhang in Beijing. So thank you very much. And Ryan, thanks for being sort of the spiritual leader for all of that. We also have two things that I just want to take note of that are outside of all of this that I think are really important. I mean, the tragedy that happened in Haiti is obviously a big deal, so if we could just take a moment of silence for that. And then also, Becca's dad just had surgery yesterday, and thankfully he came out of it all right, so that's very good. I'm very glad to hear that. Very, very good. We're glad to have you back today, because coffee was in need yesterday. Okay, so we are going to have our big annual kickoff. This is something new for Voxeo. The whole goal of this is to give a theme to the organization so that everyone's goals are oriented towards one thing. And the idea is that we use it as a foundation building block, so that we move forward, we accomplish it, and it becomes part of our tool chest. I'd say that engineering is absolutely one of those. And now our next focus is to tackle sales and marketing and really dominate that in our industry. So the Culture Group came up with the title of Hoist the Sales in 2010, which is, I think, very appropriate. And I like the nautical theme, so we will be doing lots of nautical stuff throughout the presentation. And we have a team building event at the end. We also have some special guests here that we've asked to come give a little talk about why they think Voxeo is a great place and why they're excited about what we're doing this year. Because we definitely have laid out some pretty tall goals for us to attain. So with that, I'd like to have Jonathan come give a little bit of a chat to everybody. In here.
I gotta say, I'm very disappointed. The only reason I'm here is I was told we were going to watch Avatar in 3D. Apparently we're watching the movie remake of Gilligan's Island. But actually, Pat Wright was disappointed a lot more. He flew in all the way from Denver because he was told we were going to see Alvin and the Chipmunks. Sorry, Pat. Maybe next time. All right, well, wow, that's a big picture. What am I supposed to say about this slide? Oh, look at that. Okay. All right, so many of you have heard the story about how Voxeo got started back in 1999. But I think many of you haven't as well, because we've grown the company pretty significantly, and I don't tell the story as much as I used to. We had started another company in 1995 called IRDG, and IRDG made a unified messaging product. And that was the first time that we worked with interfacing computers with the telephone. And our conclusion after doing that for a couple months was that computer telephony sucked. And as a matter of fact, when we started Voxeo, we had the, proverbial and literal whiteboard that we were sketching out ideas for our next business on. And at the top of the whiteboard was 3 words: computer telephony sucks. That was the sort of problem statement that we began with. We said, well, what can we do about that? How do we make it not suck? And we divided the problem into 2 halves. One was that creating computer telephony applications was a god-awful experience. And the other one was that deploying computer telephony applications was even worse. So we created the whole idea of XML telephony and using web technologies to build phone applications. And then we said, rather than make people buy everything, we're going to put it all in a hosted solution and let them use it as a service instead of having to deploy everything. And we've achieved a lot of that.
Welcome to highdefconferencing.com. For a menu of available commands, press
apparently
star 1.
Still sucks.
There are 8 participants in the conference.
Thank you, Mark.
A lot of that. Welcome to highdefconferencing.com.
Alrighty. Right, but it's in high definition now, exactly. It's crystal clear suckitude now, much better than 1999. Apparently they're playing the roaring sea in the background as part of the theme. So we've done a lot to fix this situation, and telephony isn't nearly as bad as it used to be. But there's still a bunch of work to do. Right. So how do we make telephony not suck? Well, as I said, we've done a lot to achieve that, but there's a lot more to do. And in fact, we've kind of become the man in our 10-year cycle, right? When we started off, we were a real underdog challenger. Our approach was kind of crazy. We were trying to make things much, much simpler. And we've done so much stuff over the last 10 years that we ourselves have become a little complicated. Our solutions are a little complex. We've got call XML and voice XML and speech XML and a lot of different technology solutions out there. We need better documentation. Our new goal is to be recognized as the place to develop and deploy communications applications. And this is our BHAG, big, hairy, audacious girl. Oh, sorry. I did that on purpose. And one thing you'll notice is that the word telephony is not in there. Because telephony is not all that we're doing anymore. You guys know, through our acquisitions and through development work that we've done over the last 2 years, we've broadened into text messaging and instant messaging, mobile communications, mobile applications. And there's a reason for this. And is there like a spot? Again, maybe it's part of the theme. The electromagnetic monster from Lost is somewhere over here. All right. There's a reason for this, and that reason starts with a belief that I have. And the belief that I have is that 50% of self-service phone calls are going to go away over the next 5 to 10 years. Okay? And the reason that I think that is because of a couple of factors. First off, if you use any form of text-based customer service or support, I find that it's far superior to phone-based service and support. And I think that there's a lot of people like me, especially in certain demographics. In a younger demographic of consumers that prefers text messaging and instant messaging. But the biggest reason why I think this is going to happen is not because consumers like it, but because enterprises will. Because the cost of providing support over a web page or over instant messaging or over text messaging, we estimate is about 1/10 the cost of providing that same support over the phone. So the reality of that situation is that even if consumers didn't like it, it's going to happen. Because enterprises, service providers, carriers, etc., are going to be driven to achieve those kinds of cost savings. Again, they're significant cost savings. So we are broadening what we do to go beyond telephony. Now, by no means do we think that the telephony problems are all solved or that the telephony market and the IVR market is gone. I think that once we get to that 50-50 point, it's going to stabilize. I think there's always going to be a market for, voice interaction. Maybe it's a premium service. But I think there's always going to be a market for that. It's going to be a growing market as we have a growing number of small businesses, growing markets like China. And as more and more companies build from these efforts, you're going to see more and more need for self-service solutions. But we're definitely, again, broadening to just more than just the phone. The interesting thing is that there's still a lot to do on the phone, though. Again, we've kind of become the man. We ourselves are now complex. There are simpler solutions coming out on the market. So I would sum up the two big things that we're doing in terms of product and technology over the next couple of years are, number one, broadening our customers' ability to communicate not just via the phone and voice, but also via these other forms of interaction. And number two, reinventing ourselves and making telephony even easier again. Looking at what we're doing and saying, okay, let's assume that's the new stuff, and how do we make something that's much, much better than that? And that's why we're experimenting with things like Tropo. That's why we're seeing a lot of increased traffic with our designer solution. And I think we're going to continue to see that trend. We're going to continue to invest in it. So what's the core purpose? The core purpose is to make communication applications easy. Voice, text messaging, instant messaging, whatever it might be. We want to make all that easy. We want to make it easy to create, easy to deploy, easy to integrate, etc. Oh, look at that. Anyway. I was trying to think this morning, like, if we were going to make a VoxeoAnnual movie, who would play who? And Well, I think one good tip I got was actually from Mike Rozalski's son. And he suggested that Judd Apatow from 30 Rock, the guy that wears the crazy hat, you know what I'm talking about? That he should play me. I actually thought it was pretty cool. I think his son was sort of meant to, kind of say I didn't look all that good. But I actually thought that was a pretty good choice. I really like that. And I'm actually thinking about wearing a hat that says Stud Muffin and getting the big square glasses, wearing that around the office. Does that sound like a good idea? All right. Ashley, can you take care of that? All right, yeah, thank you. All right, great. Thanks, everybody. What? Oh, that's yeah, great. All right, thanks, everybody.
Okay. Oh, thank you. All right. So thanks to Dan and Deb for helping me find this fabulous photo. Okay, so this is just a slide that we should all be used to seeing. The idea is just to let everybody know there is a method to the madness for what we're doing. We are, integrating a lot more planning of where it is that we're going. So Jonathan just talked about the vision. I'm going to talk a bit more about core values and then obviously the goals and what we're trying to do and why we picked the theme we have. And then everyone should be getting the initiatives from their departmental meetings and that sort of thing around the specific goals you guys are all going to do this year. But we definitely have a lot we're going to accomplish, which I'm pretty excited about. I also want to just quickly talk about the core values. We had core values within the culture, right? Any culture has them. But we sort of started on this path to define what they are over the past, back in July when I first started working with you guys. And I got to tell you, these things are starting to come alive and be more prevalent in everything we do, the way that we talk, the way we approach our jobs, all those things. The one thing that I do like most, look, obviously the top three are very important, but I do like that we have a very unconventional community. I think it's part of who we are and how we sort of stay away from becoming the absolute man, because it's an important part of who we are. And folks, not everybody wants to be a part of an unconventional community. And this year, as we're hiring and interviewing a lot more folks, it is going to be really important that folks understand sort of the culture and the way that we define ourselves. Because that is a huge part of what drives our Net Promoter Score and all the different things that we do, the way that we present, everything. So, which I'm going to be embarking on a new presentation style thanks to Dan and RJ going forward. All right, as you've all heard and probably assumed that this year's annual theme is Project to Sales. And I got to say, Dan is unbelievable because I put 2010 in front of Project Sales probably every time I sent him a revision, and he still managed to put it on the back side of it because it drove him crazy. That, I think, is amazing. That makes me laugh. So the goal is that we should all be selling. Now, before everyone immediately that is not in sales tunes out, right, because that was a huge concern for everyone. This is not just about the sales organization. This is about our organization becoming a company that is very good at executing marketing and sales, and that happens at all levels in every department in the company. I'll talk more about that, but obviously we have not invested anywhere near the amount of effort and resources that we have in the engineering organization and the support organization as we have in the sales organization and marketing. So that is what this year is going to be about. We're going to add that to become experts at that, and that's going to be part of our basic acumen. All right. So the first thing I observed when I got here, which I think is typical of companies who have sort of a very, I'll say, humble beginning, we do not walk around recognizing our accomplishments. We don't act and think like market leaders. We are. I mean, we have some of the biggest companies in the world coming after us to ask us for help. Time out. I'm going to break my rhythm. It's okay. Work has some technical difficulties. Oh my God, that's awesome. And by the way, while we're waiting, I did forget one person to thank, and this is the person that's, I believe, frantically dealing with her laptop right now, and that's Lori. She's done a lot to help prepare for this event as well, so sorry for forgetting you. I feel terrible. And since it's our first year, we're also working out all the kinks. We'll be experts next year. I do know that Bob is now an audio expert at the movie theater. He may have a second career coming. We good? You're an expert at that. All right. So now it's not pace, huh? Okay. All right. Can the folks on the phone hear me now? I've changed microphones. Oh yeah, that's on mute. Perfect. Okay. So back to where I was. I'm going to try to remember. No, I'm just kidding. We are out there selling to some of the largest companies in the industry. And the best way I can call it is we kind of act like we're the bad news bears. We don't walk around going, we dominate this industry. We may not at this point yet, but we are on the path to doing that. And that starts with each one of you every day when you get up. You have to come in and be proud of what it is that we're doing. And know, man, we are on a rocket ship. We're taking this place somewhere great. We would never set out the revenue numbers we've set out unless we really truly believe that we actually have a plan to hit them. And I'll tell you, it's a significant amount of growth, which is really exciting, and I know that we can do it. Every single one of you knows more about IVR, telephony applications, communications applications than most anyone else in this industry. And to the level that you know about it is unbelievable. And you just need to start recognizing that and acknowledging that this is something impactful that you do on a daily basis. You change the lives of a lot of people. Now, how those folks use the applications they build maybe isn't the best for the customer service for them, but what we do to ensure that they can do it is amazing. All right, so we're one team. This is where, the most important message here is that I think right now, today, a lot of folks get up every day and they sort of come in with the orientation of, I'm in engineering, I'm in finance, I'm in customer obsession teams. What you need to start thinking about is we are one team and one unit, and we all need to work together in order to execute and sell to all of these customers. Sales doesn't just go out there and sell things. They sell, and they need the support of all of you. A perfect example is Springbok. That's a customer that came online, over Thanksgiving holiday. I know John McDaniel jumped in to sort of handle the sales part, but then finance had to jump in to deal with all the contracts. NetOps had to scramble to roll out the servers. I know we had a significant amount of help from the engineering folks, particularly Jose, to help the customer customize their application so that it would function properly on our platform. And then I know that Jim's team did a significant amount of managing conference calls and all of that. And that was a customer that came in they had a $25,000 prepay, and they're now they're buying, I believe, in at least 100K chunks. And it's all thanks to the actions of every single group. And I just don't know that the company is oriented to thinking, man, we are all in sales. We are one team, and it takes all of us to execute and make it happen. So just be thinking about that as you go along. All right. So that kind of goes along with what we're doing as far as we're all in sales. So there's going to be a lot of effort around the key positioning points that we've laid out for the company and how we're differentiating in market and that sort of thing. So we're going to take the whole company through a training program. We started the process yesterday with the sales organization to sort of make sure what it is that we're talking about really is impactful and, do these things matter in the market? How do we make sure that we're customizing the message so that it's communicating to the folks and making them say, yeah, you know what, VoxeO is a different place. I want to work there beyond just sort of our quirkiness and a lot of the things that we've done differently. So that's something that will be incorporated into things that Ryan is going to be leading, and one of our guest speakers will be helping to do some training on that. But it is something that we all just need to think about. We are all in sales in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily selling to the customer and trying to close them. But every interaction they have with us impacts their decision. It also impacts the Net Promoter Score, which is something that also helps to drive our revenue as well. Okay. So as part of that, right, so if we're going to say we're all in sales, we certainly all need to have some sort of reward for helping to contribute to that process to grow the company. So one of the major things that we're working on this year is to create a bonus program. The goal is to get that defined and rolled out by the end of Q1. Now that will impact everyone across the organization. I'm a huge believer that you need to align incentives with the actions that we want to have. If we want you all to be thinking, hey, we need to close more revenue, we need to help upgrade customers, we've got to make sure that they're having the best experience they possibly can, we need to make sure that if you're doing a great job at that, man, you should be getting rewarded for that. And so that's going to be a very important thing that I think, I know we've talked a lot about, but it is definitely going to happen this year. I'm pretty excited about it, and it should be something that will be impactful and, help to motivate everyone so that they are wanting to drive more sales and also upgrade more customers. All right. It's also the year of the partner. The sales organization has done a phenomenal job lining up a lot of different partners who have brought us into huge deals. Things like TELUS, Comcast, Tata. Those are some huge partners brought us all to those deals. So what we're going to be spending a lot of time this year focusing on is developing a formal partner program, which I know a ton of people have been asking for. But, again, as companies grow and evolve over time, there's a right time to start putting energy into it. And now this is that year. So there's going to be a lot more to come from that. Michael Codini's been putting a lot of thought into it. I know John Amin has been putting a lot of thought into it. Paul Thomas and Mike Rozelski have a lot of different ideas. So there's a lot to come from that, but we are definitely going to be focusing on a key set of partners to leverage them and to start using them and make them a significant revenue stream for us. So that's a pretty exciting thing, and I know the partners are excited about it. We are going to actually have one of our first partner campaigns. I believe we're going to start doing one on a monthly basis, and it's voice biometrics is going to be the first one because, again, we've got to practice. So we've got about 5 to 7 partners that we're going to start doing some releases and highlighting as special partners, and I know that the engagement on their side is huge. So there's going to be more and more to come of that, and we'll learn more about that over the year. Okay, so something that's also very important that if you're going to ask everyone to put up higher results, we also need to put some investment into how we're driving leads and awareness to Voxeo. We have partnered with a company called Pair Analytics, who's going to help to drive a lot of our traffic, web traffic, and we're going to start turning this into a science. So we have a long history and tradition of saying, all right, we're going to make the impossible possible in the engineering organization. Well, we need to start doing that in the sales organization and figuring out what our levers are to drive leads and to increase our conversion ratio so that we make sure that we are getting good leads there. I know that is something that we started a little bit with the concierge team, but there is a ton of work to be done there. We're going to start investing in hiring a sort of what we'll call a junior sales team that is going to be helping with the concierge, answering of phones, which I know a ton of you have been working on to figure out how we can make sure we answer all the incoming sales calls. But that is something that we're going to be spending a significant amount of time on. We have a weekly meeting now where we're starting to measure all the results, all the metrics, and get it all together. And Alex Van Dyke will be helping significantly in that area, so he's quite excited. He's going to be a busy guy going forward. All right, so driving revenue from the install base, this is something that we have not spent any time really focusing on. John McDaniel spent a little bit of time over the past 2 months, and basically what he uncovered was exactly what we assumed, is that we've done a phenomenal job driving our Net Promoter Scores very high, and we have a very loyal customer base. We just don't spend a lot of time talking to them about all the new things that we do and figuring out what's happening in their business. How can we help them to execute better? So that is going to be a huge focus for us, and I think also a very significant revenue stream, because we have about almost 40% of our growth next year is coming from the installed base. Some of it's just natural growth because our customers are growing, right? So like customers like Silverlink will get bigger and they'll use more minutes. But we also need to start using that as one of our levers to make it a significant revenue stream. Because today we don't even talk about, okay, installed base sales versus new revenue sales. So and that's something that we need to be thinking about, because I believe there's a huge amount of opportunity in there. So there's much more to come on that over the next coming year. All right, so corporate goals. So everybody knows what we're working on. $60 million. That's and by the way, it says run rate. Tony will be very happy that I'm being very clear about that. But that is the amount of revenue that we are going to be booked by the end of 2010. And I don't say we're planning to book. I say we are going to book, because I know that it's going to happen. There is a huge, I'll walk through the details of what comprises that $60 million on the next slide, but man, I know that we can do it. Right now we're ending the year, $31 million? That's a pretty big jump, right? Well, I think we're lined up and positioned to be able to make it happen. This is why it's also project sales, because it's going to also mean a lot of work for everybody. Every time we sell a deal, it creates a lot more work on the back end. One thing I want to say is that I know that there's always a concern around, are we going to be staffing up for that? Of course we are. Tony's starting to build all the headcount planning templates right now. We're going to circulate that, and based on the growth numbers, we're going to have headcount planning for that. We've already started posting a lot of the jobs out there so that we can start top rating folks, so we actually have people that we want to hire. But again, that takes a little bit of time, so I just want to make sure that what I want to do is create the problem, so we have to be scrambling to hire folks, and I believe we will. Then we're going to attain a 70% Net Promoter Score. I know we hit 57 this past year, which is a great accomplishment. I know that there was a lot of concern around the VO customers because we had spent a lot of time talking to them, but I'll tell you, it shows that if we actually put our mind to something, we can really accomplish it. We missed by 3% to 60%, but man, 57 was great, especially with a lot of the unknowns. And what I'll say, we don't have a lot of consistent conversations with the customers. So I believe once we start doing more of the scorecard meetings and we also start having more conversations around where their businesses are going and becoming true partners to our customers, there is going to be, I believe we'll be able to blow that out of the water. I actually was talking to Jim about it. I was like, I think we should go 75 or 80. And he said, let's get a little bit under our belt. So on a quarterly basis, we reevaluate these things, just like we did with our revenue number for the end of the year. That number may go up based on everything that we're doing. So I really feel strongly that we're pretty passionate about our service, and I think that we can hit higher than 70. But for right now, based on the information we have and the activities that we're going with, we're going to go with 70%. But congratulations to everyone for hitting the 57. That's definitely a great accomplishment. All right, so these next two are basically for the leadership team. We are asking a lot of everyone, so we need to be putting in a lot of investment as well, what I call putting major deposits into the emotional bank account. Becoming the top 10 best companies in Florida, that's not something any of you guys are going to be doing. That is something that I have to do every day, Ryan has to do every day, Jonathan has to do every day. All the folks that are members of the leadership team, they need to be showing up every day, making us want to be volunteers. And we're excited and engaged and wanting to do what we're doing. And we're enabling you and doing what we need to do to ensure that you can get your job done. There's going to be a lot of things that we do that are associated with that. One of those is implementing ROW. So that's the results-oriented work environment. Now, like everything else, we're not going to implement it to the letter of the law, but we are going to take what makes sense for us and implement it here. The number one that we're going to implement that I'm so thrilled about that I'm not going to hear anything more about is the vacation policy. I cannot believe the number of conversations I was involved with as far as how do we handle the vacation. All these vacations are adding up and all of that. And I know all of you then got a lot of pressure to, you have to take your vacation before the end of the year, otherwise you're going to lose it. And it's just very disruptive to the environment. So what we want to do is basically, I'm a huge believer in give away control to gain power. You guys need to have more freedom in what you're doing. Jonathan's a huge believer of this. This was his number one for the thing that he wanted to implement. We trust all of you. We've spent a ton of time trying to find you and bring you onto the team. Man, let's make sure that we're putting our money where our mouth is. We trust you every day. You don't need to ask for if you can leave for a doctor's appointment. All these different things that you don't need. Vacation is basically will be there if you get your job done, right? If you've got your things all in order, why not take vacation? Assuming, obviously, there's certain areas where you have, shift work and that sort of thing. But it's more about letting you guys sort it out because you're adults. We trust that you can make the decisions that are right for the company, and we want to make sure that we're telling you that and letting you know. So there'll be a lot more to come from that. Ryan's group is going to implement it. We're going to test it out in one department first just to make sure that we kind of work out the kinks. But then we're going to roll it out to the rest of the company. So I'm hoping, I like to say by the end of Q1, but if it doesn't go exactly as planned, it'll be by the middle of second quarter. So that is something that I'm pretty excited about, and I look forward to seeing sort of all the different ideas that everybody has on how we can change it, make it better, all of that sort of stuff. Because really, this should be an organization where we all show up every day, we know what we have to do, and we just get it done. And you don't need to have sort of what I consider micromanagement, all of that sort of stuff. It's pointless, and it just really causes more disengagement amongst everybody. So. Now, Telco 3.0. This is our effort to stay as the leader in the communications application development area. There's a lot that we can do. I mean, obviously, if we want to become the place to develop and deploy communications applications, we have to stay on the forefront of that. So that's the investments like Tropo, Flash Gordon. Did I say that right, or RJ? Okay. All right. So those are the things that we're investing in. But it's also all the different things that we're doing across the engineering department. It's why we segmented the engineering department. so that we're all focusing on developing the specific applications and levels of the platform so that it's continuing to be easy and make sense to our customers and appealing. So, all right, that's also the reward for results. That's the bonus plan. We already talked about that. I think everybody's pretty clear that's going to happen in Q1, by the end of Q1. And that one I can lay out because I'm going to drive that through Tony and Jonathan. So we will make that happen. Everyone, leadership people have input on that, but we are going to make that one happen. And then the automation. This is, wow, I guess automation is the effort that Ryan's been driving, where we want to get, implement this e-commerce platform so that things are much easier for our customers. So obviously, when we talk about self-service, we want to make sure that it's very easy for customers to purchase things from us, but then also sort of the automation of the entire organization. Because if we're going to start bringing on customers, 20 million in new revenue, that is going to entail a lot of implementations. So we need to make sure that we are not dropping the ball on all those customer implementations. And I know right now it's a very manual process. So we need to get, and also access to a lot of the information necessary for us to be doing the scorecard meetings. We need to make sure that all of that stuff is available and easily used so that we can help add value to our customers. There's a lot of work to be done there, but I know that we started a significant amount already in 2009, so that's very good. All right, so this just to give everybody an idea of kind of where we're planning the revenue to come from. The goal is 56.7 million. That's where we'll end, but so that's why I want to be clear with everybody. We say 60 million run rate. It's the revenue that's booked. It's not actually revenue that we've brought into the company. So everyone's clear on that. The top, we're going to bring about 6.7 in M&A. We have a little bit more around. We have about 10 million. That's out there right now that we know about. But I mean, as Jonathan has said in several of the all-hands meetings, there are a ton of companies out there that make sense for us to add to our portfolio, and all of them will have some level of recurring revenue, which will also benefit our installed base growth. So Don Amin's going to be heading that up. We're very excited about that because there's a ton of opportunity out there. We've already started evaluating several. Then we also, for new revenue, we're going to add about 20 million. So about 40% of that is going to come from the installed base growth, and then also just selling into the installed base. And then we have a pipeline, a sales pipeline, which Don Amin talked about last week in the all-hands meeting, which is larger than we've ever had before. It's about 17 or 18 million right now, and those are the ones that we know about. And that's more than we've ever had. And obviously we're not going to close 100% of that pipeline, but the odds are pretty darn good for us to close at least 7 to 8 million of it. And then there will be a ton of other things, sort of things like Springbox that come in that we didn't know about, that are just new customers that heard about us and said, hey, we have a need. We want to use Voxeo because we heard you're the place to go to. As far as that, the 17 million, I do want to say that Q1 is where we're going to get most of the major decisions on a lot of them. That doesn't mean that they're going to sign contracts, but they're going to come to a decision internally on, okay, do we want to use Voxeo? Are we going to go out there? Which is pretty exciting. So that means we may have a significant amount of our revenue already decided on in the first quarter, which will take pressure off us. But that means to me, so it takes pressure off us as far as hitting the number. But to me, that just means we can go higher than 60 million, which I actually really feel strongly we can. I've been a part of an organization that did it, and it felt almost exactly the same when we kicked off the year. The difference was I had no idea what we were in for, so it felt like war. Whereas I think now we know what it feels like. I've been there, and we can actually manage it a lot better, and I'm pretty excited about it. I say that with true conviction because I really believe that we're positioned to take this place to places I don't think anyone has ever thought we were. So I'm pretty excited about it. With that, and does anybody have any questions about any of that? I mean, we've spent a ton of time. I'm trying to make it as clear as possible where we believe the revenue is coming from, because I know it's a big order, and it's it seems pretty intimidating when you first look at that. But it's going to happen. So I want everyone to kind of know, get ready. We're in for a really wild ride. It's pretty exciting to be a part of that kind of growth. You suddenly feel like you don't even work anymore. It's just you get up and you go, and it's happening, And there's new things happening every day, I'll tell you that. So, let's see. There we go. Okay. So Jonathan, okay. Before we do this, Jonathan's got us, and Jonathan's going to give this away. I do want to say the group that's getting this, I'm pretty excited about.
So first I wanted to provide a little more details on some of what Anna talked about. One thing is results-oriented work environment. Are any of you familiar, any of you read about that? Okay. So essentially the biggest part of results-oriented work environment is that the vacation policy is that there really is no vacation policy. You can take off whenever you want. If your work is done, you can leave. If you want to work 3 days a week, but you manage to do 5 days of work in those 3 days, fine. If you want to take 2 months off, but you kicked ass in the first 10 months of the year and got everything done that you're supposed to do, that's fine. There are some caveats on this, and this is where we're going to have to work out how we do this. Best Buy and Netflix are 2 companies that have implemented this, and their caveat is that they don't give the results-oriented work environment sort of system to their hourly employees. And let's think about why that is. The hourly employees at Best Buy are like the people in the store. So, if you walked into the store and everybody decided that they weren't going to work that day, it wouldn't work out all that well. At Netflix, the hourly employees are the customer support people, right? If you called Netflix, but all of them decided that they were going to go see Avatar that day, it wouldn't work out all that well. Best Buy and Netflix have this clear delineation. They have salaried employees and hourly employees, and all of essentially their shift-based employees are paid hourly. We don't have that distinction. We have shifts like customer support, like the NOC, but we don't pay those people hourly. But similarly, we can't just have a coincidence for one day, 80% of the NOC decided that they weren't going to work, and then there's an outage, and everyone's, well, nobody's here. So we're going to have to come up with some variation of the results-oriented work environment approach to a vacation policy that works for our shift-based employees. Some way they can essentially still get the benefits, but we can know that people are going to be there. And it may be that we have some kind of website that people can go and, enter in their sort of bid priorities for when they want to take off. But we're going to have to come up with something, and that's largely what the guys are going to work on. Results-oriented work environment goes beyond just a vacation policy, though. It also goes into how we really measure what our employees are achieving. And essentially that we're going to focus on the results and not how you get there. If the job's getting done really well, you're kicking ass, great. That's what we want to pay attention to. Not, did you do it and you were dressed nicely while you were there. Not did you do it and had nice shoes on while you were there. Clothes, at least probably as a minimum preference would be good. But anyway, that's the results-oriented work environment. We'll send an email with a link to some of the information about it so you guys can read up on it. And again, like everything, we're going to take it, we're going to kind of find a variety of the results-oriented work environment that works for everybody at Voxeo and for the customers that we have. I think it's going to be very cool. I know I personally won't ever probably be able to go on vacation. But I'm really looking forward to it for everybody else. And again, we're serious about this. If the job is done, people can take time off. Again, we have to have some caveats around scheduling and shifts, but that's it. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the revenue. That revenue goal is unrealistic, and that's exactly why it's the goal. Because, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't start Voxeo to build a realistic company. I really like unrealistic, actually. One of the things that the management team knows about me is that I hate or decisions. Like Mark on Skype the other day said, well, would you buy company A or would you buy company B? What's your preference? And I said, I hate those questions. I like and questions. Buy company A and company B. Yes, I like that. I want to do something unrealistic. I want to build a great company with you guys. I want to achieve something that is memorable. I want people to look back at Voxeo on your resumes and have it be like you were at Microsoft in the first 5 years, or you were at Netscape or at Google in the first 5 years of its existence. I want this to be something that, even when we're all gone from Voxeo, when anyone you interact with looks back at that, they go, wow, that's great, you were part of that. That's the company that I want to build. Right? This is the third time I've done this. I built a, all right company the first time. I built a pretty darn good company the second time. And now I want to work with all you guys to build an absolutely kick-ass company. So $60 million, thank you. $60 million is an unrealistic goal, but raise your hand if you want to be realistic this year. Mark wants to be realistic. Well, we can adjust it down for you if we like, Mark. We just won't tell you. Look, there's reality and then there's being realistic. When we started Voxeo, Everybody told us it wasn't realistic. When we started IRDG, there were all these analysts that said, you're going to start a unified messaging platform based on industry standards. There's no business model there. You won't be able to sell proprietary hardware and get $5,000 per hard drive. How are you going to make money? And we thought these people were stupid. Turns out they kind of were. The same thing is going on here. We have more opportunity than any company can ever have, right? I've done this 3 times now. Investors have been involved in, probably just 100 things like this. The virtual stars are aligning for Voxeo right now. We have a better product. We have a more modern product that works better, that has more features, that's easier to use than our competitors do. Our competitors are largely falling apart, right? You look at the premise market. In December, we did $4 million, and I think 1.5 million of that is premise. Is that right, Tony? About 1.5 million? About 1.5 million. The year before, I believe we sold about 1.5 million in premise. It wasn't much more than that, was it? 2.3 million is how much premise we sold in 2008, and we sold 1.5 million in premise in December. And there's a reason for that. Thanks. Yeah, it's great work, everybody. We have a better product. We have better customer support. We have a more modern product. And our competitors are falling apart all around us. Genesis, owned by Alcatel. Do you know how much money Alcatel lost second quarter of this year? Anyone know? $480 million. And here's the thing with Alcatel. I don't know the exact number, but they have like 100,000 French employees, and labor laws are really tough in France. They basically can never lay these people off. So you know what they do? They lay off profitable employees in the U.S. because they can't lay off unprofitable employees in France. And as a result, Genesis, one of our competitors, is absolutely paralyzed. Right? Last year, we looked at Genesis and thought, geez, they got like 70% market share. How are we going to get 7% market share? This year, T-Mobile UK bought a system from them in January. It's now 12 months later. The system still isn't installed. How many vendors do you know that you give $3 million to, and a year later, they still can't get around to installing the product for you? So why are we better? Well, first off, we could get it installed within a year. And actually, our product, you could get installed within 12 minutes, because you just download it and click a couple buttons and go. We don't have to fly a team out to get it up and running. Genesis is dead. They may not realize it yet. I think actually they probably do. They may be in denial, but they're dead. Look at Nortel. A year and a half ago, Sergey worked for Telephonics, which Nortel bought, kind of screwed up a little bit. I don't think he loves Nortel all that much. That's right. They bought a great product and fired everybody. See, I've always done things wrong. I buy a great product and then I try to keep everybody. I never quite got that down. Nortel. A year and a half ago, we look at Nortel and go, oh, geez, if it's us and Nortel on a deal on premise, we're not going to win it. No one will buy Nortel on premise now. Right? Nvox, bought by Cinelex. No one's heard from them since then. Intervoice, bought by Convergys. No one's heard from them since then. The premise market is lining up to be ours to take. And that's why we see $1.5 million in revenue as a scrappy underdog with a premise product we just came out with 4 years earlier, now taking market share away from everybody. The same thing is happening in hosting. If we get into an RFP or into a business decision-making opportunity, and that vendor, that customer, is going to make a decision on the basis of which product is actually better, we win every time. Now, unfortunately, a lot of business decisions in that sort of scenario are not based on which product is better. They're based on how many golf games were played. They're based on how many dinners were bought. They're based on who knows who. And when we talk about project sales this year, that's a lot of what we're going to be working on. We're going to be not transitioning, because I think what we have is great. We're going to be adding all that part of sales that we don't have. All right, the little bit of confidence, a lot more golf games, a lot more who knows who. And Mike apparently really likes golf. And as Anna said, this is not about the sales team. It's about the sales company. It's about the company becoming a sales organization. Okay? And no offense to anyone in sales, but a lot of our sales is actually order taking. We've done all this stuff that makes leads come to us, and we have a perfect opportunity to get them. Okay? What we need to do and what we need to get better at is more selling. The people who weren't going to buy from us and convincing them to buy from us anyway. And we've got a lot of great people on the team that we've hired over the last couple of years. We've got guys like John McDaniel, who went from tech support, what was it, 6 years ago, John? 7 years ago? You know, he doesn't even remember now, it's been so long. And discovered on his own a great way to sell our product. We want to take everything that we've built in individuals in the sales team about how to sell. We want to come up with a bunch of new things about how to sell. And we want to have the entire company trained in thinking about those things. So that if you're on a support call or on a support IM or on a support ticket interaction, you're going to be thinking about not just how do we make this customer happy with this transaction, but how do we sell them more stuff. This is very important, and in fact, it's the reason why I've always believed so strongly in customer support, customer service. One of my first jobs, my first real job, was at a company called Columbia Data Products. And the guy that runs Columbia Data Products is a very interesting guy, very unusual. Kind of like me, he often gets things wrong in a very right sort of way. And one of the things that he did wrong, Columbia Data Products sold an OEM storage technology to other companies. And normally when you sell OEM storage technology to other companies, you sell it really cheap. It's like $1 a copy, right? For a little ROM chip and some disk, software on a disk, you know, back before the internet and all that sort of thing. And as part of that, you go to the company you sold it to and you said, listen, you're getting this for $1 a copy. You know, we can't support this, right? There's not enough money in this to take the tech support calls. I mean, you get it for $1 a copy, but you've got to do all the tech support calls, and don't ever bother us. You know, you figure it out yourself. It's $1 a copy. It's not worth doing that. And Alan Welsh went into the OEM storage market and he said, all right, listen, it's $1 a copy, but there's one caveat. You can't take the support calls. The support calls have to come to us. And the customers, like, at that thing wants to do is just go, what the hell are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. And I say, look, it's just my preference, you know. I insist. $1 copy, and we have to take the support calls. The customers are not allowed to call you. And they'll, like, go in the back and go like, this guy is stupid. This is great. Well, what he would do was, he'd get those people on the phone. We'd provide great support for them so that they loved us. And at the end of every call, you know what we did? We would say, hey, listen, there's a new version of the software available. It's got a bunch of great new features. It's only $49. I can take your credit card right now if you'd love to get it. And most of the customers are so happy, they go, yeah, all right, sounds great. They had no idea what it did. They were just willing to give us $49 because we actually helped them instead of most customer support. So he made more money off of the technical support than he did off of the product in the first place. And so that kind of wired my brain wrong as a 17-year-old kid working in my first company. Like, oh, I see, right, tech support, profit source. Right? And I've always viewed it that way. That's why we invest so much in customer support. The way that it's translated to success for Voxeo to date is in our Net Promoter Score and our customer retention rate. Practically no one leaves Voxeo. It's kind of like the mob. The only reason people leave Voxeo is if they're killed, i.e. the company goes out of business or the project is shut down, or I guess if they become an informant. I haven't thought about that angle. We'll work that through. Our customers are very loyal to us. And that customer loyalty increases our sales because every year we don't have to replace a bunch of lost revenue from our customers. We get to stack on top of the revenue that we already have. We want to extend that. We want to not just have customer support be about customer retention and the revenue that can bring to the company. We want customer support to start being an enabling path to selling more stuff to that customer. Hey, customer, I'm so glad you're happy with us. Did you know we do managed servers too? You know, do you know we did IM and SMS? Do you know we have a premise product? The last time we surveyed our customers, 3/4 of our customers, and this was just about a year ago, did not know we offered a premise product. Well, it's not surprising. We haven't told them we offered a premise product. If they come to our website and they find the right page, they can figure out we've offered a premise product. But you know when the last time we sent an email out to all of our customers and developers was? 2006. We want to take advantage of that asset. Let's start emailing them. Let's start letting them know about the other products we have. Let's start telling them at the end of a support interaction. Just one brief line. We don't want to be over the top. We don't be ridiculous. We don't want to put like a banner ad there. But one little line of email. Hey, in case you're interested, we do managed servers too. It's a great way to have a backup for your current server. It's a great way to get increased performance and reliability for what you're doing right now. Okay? We don't want to turn everyone into like full-time salespeople. We want to turn everyone into 10% of the time salespeople. We want to make everyone in the company enable more sales. So, is it realistic for us to do $60 million in revenue? $56 million in revenue next year? If we start doing these things, if we take advantage of the opportunity that has been put right in front of us, with our competitors falling apart and a superior product and superior support, absolutely we can. We'd only have to get 4 or 5% market share to achieve that kind of revenue. And I know that we can do that. I know it's going to be hard. I know there's a lot of unrealistic challenges in the details to do that, but I know that we can do that. And as part of that, I'm not going to acquire $6 million in revenue. I'm going to acquire $15 million in revenue. I'm going to do my part to help all this out. So maybe it's actually $70 million. We'll see. We'll see. But you guys get the point. We have an opportunity to build a great, unrealistic company together at VoxeO, and to have something on all of our resumes and in all of our bank accounts, which is really going to help us further in life. And this is the year for us to seize that opportunity, do something unrealistic, and go out and get that business. So. Also, from now on, meetings should not start until 10:30, because that's around when I wake up. Everyone's like, yeah, hello, everybody. Hey, look. You're looking silent. All right, so the Customer Obsession Award. Boy, that was a long intro, wasn't it? You know, like 2008, beginning of 2009, I got to tell you, NetOps really pissed me off. They had no idea. They had no idea at all. No, obviously everybody. I was getting frustrated. We were making a lot of what we called SFMs. And Ryan, what does that mean? Stupid freaking mistakes. Yeah, something like that. And look, you got to understand one thing about me. I'm the kind of person that yells at the TV when it's not working right. Okay? I don't have to be frustrated at a person. I don't have to be unhappy with someone. I can just not like things, and I let it know when I don't like things. If I don't like my TV, the TV knows. If I'm not happy with what someone's doing, they know. If I'm not happy with what a group is doing, they know. If I'm not happy with the company in one specific area, everybody knows. Just how I am. I'm an open person. I'm a little bit emotional. It comes out. Ryan can tell you I've toned down a lot in the last 15 years. I don't think I've called anyone a pig fucker since 2003. All right. And to be fair, that was an AT&T employee. They deserved it. But, you know, over the last year, we have made massive improvements with the network operations team. We've got some processes in place which I know are frustrating for some of the team members. But you got to look at the end result. When was it we implemented the MEG process? April-ish. I don't know of one big SFM we've made since April. There hasn't been one. Okay? That's an enormous change. The amount of SLA credit that we've given out has gone down significantly since April. When we did the customer survey, there were practically no comments about service reliability in the survey. There were comments in 2008. So that's a demonstratable way that improving the reliability of the network through the processes, through the new approaches that we're taking to NetOps, which I know can be frustrating at times, have impacted our Net Promoter Score. If we were seeing comments in the Net Promoter Score about service reliability, those people would have given us lower scores, and our NPS wouldn't have come out at 57%. The network operations team has really made a phenomenal improvement this year, and so the 2009 Obsession Award winner is the NetOps team. Yeah, why don't you guys all stand up if you're in here? I don't know who half those people are. Apparently that's the Knock Night team. Never seen a paler man than Jesse. That's what happens when you work 11 to 7 a.m. All right. So great job to the whole team. It's really been a phenomenal improvement. We're going to continue to invest a lot of money and a lot of time in improving this. We just bought, I think about $400,000 worth of new Juniper equipment as part of upgrading the network. We're going to continue to invest significantly in improving the network this year. New firewalls. We got new routing equipment from Juniper. We're trying new Ethernet switches from Juniper. Apparently everything but Cisco is the new strategy. I know Morris approves. But yeah, we're really bringing a lot of new technology. We're investing in improving the core and the foundation of the network. We're going to be doing upgrades in the Orlando data center this year. We're going to continue to improve the processes, streamline the processes. We're going to be hiring more people. So again, great job to that team, and let's keep at it and see if we can go a couple years without any big problems. That would be great. Oh, it's time for a break? 10 minutes, everybody gets 10 minutes. Great. Thanks, everybody. Oh, there's refreshments and apparently...
We are ready to get moving again. We're going to have Marco give us a little talk. And just to introduce to everybody, for folks who don't know who Mark is, he is one of the first board members, first companies that we said we actually wanted to take some money from because they were great guys. And they believed in VoxeO. So welcome, Mark. He's down here on a monthly basis. And then, managing director of North Atlantic Capital, which is the name of the...
Thank you very much, Anna. I wanted to stand up there and run up and down the aisles and do the morning focus things, but I didn't have any questions to ask. So I'm Mark Morissette, partner at North Atlantic Capital in Portland, Maine, and I always wanted to have my name on the silver screen, so I'm happy to have this chance. Thank you. So just a little bit of background on myself. I've been at North Atlantic for 10 years and was doing venture capital for 5 years before that. So have had the chance to see a lot of interesting companies, and I'll tell you more about North Atlantic and how we got involved with VoxeO. But I thought I'd touch on Portland, Maine first, since probably a lot of Dan knows Portland. Since probably a lot of you have not been to Portland and maybe even think that the only thing that Portland, Maine might have is lobstermen and are surprised to find out there are venture capitalists there. I can assure you that there are at least a few venture capitalists in Portland, and it's a nice place to live. But I can also tell you that when I tell people in Maine that I've invested in a technology company in Orlando, they're surprised to find out that there's something other than Disney World here. But they also very quickly scoff at the Floridians who think 45 degrees is cold. As I left my house yesterday morning, it was 7 degrees, and that's real degrees, not the wind chill that I always hear you guys talking about. And 45 is often something we look forward to in June, and that's actually true. So how did we from Portland, Maine, end up here at VoxeO down in Florida? North Atlantic does a lot of its finding of companies by doing outbound cold calling. We've got a team of associates who do research on companies, and they call between 500 and 1,000 companies a year, seeing if they want money, looking to find interesting businesses to put money into. And it was over 3 years ago, one of the associates called Jonathan, and we started tracking the company. So just to put that in a little bit of context, 3 years, 500 to 1,000 companies a year. Since we started talking to Jonathan, we've probably talked to between 1,500 and maybe as many as 3,000 companies that all would like to have money and would be interested in having a venture capitalist invest in them. And we don't obviously invest in most of them. Most of them we either aren't interested right away or we don't follow for that long. Most of them make projections that they don't necessarily meet. Most of them have technology that we don't necessarily find is all that interesting. And most of them don't have sort of a vision, a big vision about where they think they can be. And most of them don't kind of have that passion for solving a customer problem, for figuring out that telephony sucks and trying to make it better. And obviously Voxeo was different. Voxeo was not like most of them. And so we pursued Jonathan and Voxeo aggressively for the next 3 years. And we're constantly impressed by the company's ability to meet its plans, the quality of the technology and the innovation of the technology, both from the development effort and the ability to do creative acquisitions along the way, and just that desire to constantly do better. We were really impressed with Voxeo and felt that it was had an opportunity and continues to have an opportunity to change some major industries in a big way. We've been fortunate to invest in a number of nice businesses along the way, companies that have a nice technology and a nice base of customers, and we've made money for our investors, and that's a good thing. I think Voxeo is different than that. It's a nice business, but I think it has a chance to be a market-leading company, a company that can be a lot more than just a nice business. And what's the difference between a nice business and a market-leading company? Technology is something that it looks great now, but over time, other people can innovate. Other people can come up with something else. Technology gets old. Fantastic historical performance becomes historical financial performance, and nobody cares anymore. But the one thing that tends to last is the culture, and that desire to constantly innovate, and that desire to do something really interesting and to solve customer problems, and to find a way to continue to be better and really change a market. And that's something that we found that Voxeo had that a lot of people just don't have. And so we really do think that this company has a pretty unique opportunity in the world. Now, the 2009 results, we sort of looked at those, and to be honest, we were a little disappointed. It wasn't bad. The market, was kind of rough out there, and Voxeo grew and everything. And it'd be easy for a nice company or a nice business to say, the market stinks, we had a rogue customer that didn't do what it was supposed to do, or we, any number of external factors that you can always blame some sort of results on. But market-leading companies don't do that, and that's what we were absolutely impressed with Voxeo. Market-leading companies take those external issues and turn them into opportunities. They go out and they buy their competitors. They go out and charge ahead in the market and take over when Genesis is failing. And so we just were extremely impressed and been really happy, even though the financial performance wasn't sort of the best last year. We think that the company has put itself on a great path going forward, and to be a market-leading company, not just now, but for a long time to come. Jonathan touched on this a little bit earlier, but I was thinking about why do you care if this is a market-leading company? What does it matter to you? And it's you live in a warm place, more than I can say. You've got to work for a nice company. You've got the barista. You've got land parties. You get to hang out at movie theaters. This is it's a good. You can take vacation whenever you want, apparently. So, what do you care if this is a market-leading company, right? But it makes a huge difference. And Jonathan talked about Microsoft and Cisco. This is the same kind of opportunity you guys have to be a part of a team that builds a company that lasts a long time and that people remember. People are going to remember, and you can look back and say, I was part of that team and I helped grow that. It's very unique, even within our portfolio, to have that opportunity. So, I encourage you, challenge you to continue to work on that, to make it into the market-leading company that it is, and can even extend that distance more. So, thank you for having me here and for letting us invest. And I think I'm supposed to turn it over to Greg Beatty, who knows way more about teams than I ever will.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I've had an interesting career. I think his reference is the fact that I spent 9 years playing football, and I can tell you one thing: I wake up on Monday mornings feeling a lot more comfortable now than I did for 9 years. The best way to describe it is that every Monday morning, imagine being in a car accident the day before. I mean, that's the kind of damage that you feel every Monday morning. So I feel much better now. Totally healthy, no surgeries. I can still run and play basketball, so I'm not one of those, invalid former NFL players. I'm here. I don't know if you even know about the vehicle, the Florida Growth Fund, that invested in your company. And I want to explain it to you a little bit because I think Jonathan is really proud of what the Florida Growth Fund is attempting to do. The Florida Growth Fund is the offshoot of, or the result of legislation passed here about a year ago that allows the SBA, which is the State Board of Administration that manages the state pension fund. It allows the SBA to invest up to 1.5% of its assets into innovative businesses in the state of Florida. So when I look at that and I think, wow, Voxeo, and so the Florida Growth Fund came about. It's a $250 million fund that my firm, Hamilton Lane, was selected to manage, and we're investing in companies, directly into companies like Voxeo here in the state of Florida. We're also investing in funds that invest in businesses here in the state of Florida. And the idea is, first and foremost, is to make money for our constituents, who are the recipients of the pension fund here in the state of Florida. So if we have 10 goals, the top 9 are to make money for the pension fund, okay? Because the only way this is going to work in the long run, the only way this is going to be really beneficial to the state of Florida is if the SBA wants to do this again and wants to make 1.5% of the state pension fund is about $1.8 billion. So $250 million is just a toe in the water for them, just trying to figure out whether it's going to work. So I'm putting a big challenge on you, Voxeo, our first investment, to make money for all those retired state workers that are relying on their state pension fund. When I look at Voxeo, and I tell this to people as we travel around the state, and they say, what kind of investment do you want? What are you really looking for? I tell them about Voxeo. We feel very fortunate to have made this first investment. I think Jonathan has a big commitment because of the history of Voxeo, because it had its roots out in Silicon Valley, for reasons that they didn't think, the founding team didn't think they could raise the money out here. They felt like they had to be in Silicon Valley. And when the bubble burst and they were able to move their company back here, your company back here, and you've grown organically for all these years, come to $31 million in revenue, profitability for 12 quarters, 15 quarters in a row. I don't know what the exact number is. That tells the right story. The growth in the jobs, it tells the right story. We're very, very happy to have this investment in Voxeo, and we refer to it as our poster child investment. And it's up to you guys in this room, everybody in this room, to make sure that it stays as a poster child, that icon of investing. Let's see, just a couple things. One of the things about the NFL is they have all these fancy slogans, and so I thought I'd share two one is relevant, one is not so relevant. But one, the NFL, it stands for not for long, because you're not going to play very long, and you have to plan for your future. And I hope that I've done that, and I'm very happy in my role with the Florida Growth Fund. But the other one that is pertinent to Voxeo is it's a saying that I learned very well in my rookie year for the New England Patriots, and it's called the more you can do. And there's a saying in the NFL, it's the more you can do. As a coach, as a player, the more you can do, the longer they're going to want you on the team. So I was a tight end. I was drafted out of Stanford, went to New England. I had never long snapped. Long snapping is the guy who snaps the ball back to the punter 15 yards. And I'd never done that at any level. Little league, college, high school, I'd never done it. My special teams coach came up to me and said, hey, the more you can do. Let me teach you how to do this. And I learned how to do that, and it ended up extending my career. And I didn't even do it when I was with the New England Patriots. He taught me how to do it. I worked on it every day in practice, every day in the off season. And the first time I ever long snapped in a game was my 5th year in the NFL, my first year with the Miami Dolphins. And, all right. So, and this is the funny part is that, everybody asked me if I got nervous playing football in front of, in the AFC Championship game and millions of people watching and the crowd out there. I never got nervous. The only time I was ever nervous for a football game was the night before the first game I was going to snap in. Because, football, I played it my whole life. I started playing when I was in 3rd grade. It's what I do. It's what you build technology. That's what you do. You're not nervous about it. So I wasn't nervous about on 3rd and 10, they call a play and it's going to go to me. They're going to pass the ball to me. I felt very confident that I could get open, catch the ball, make the first down, and keep the chains going. But when they told me the night before, and Reggie Roby, does anybody remember Reggie Roby, Connor? Okay. So I'm the tight end on the team, and our long snapper. Okay, well, we can go off we can go offline about that afterwards. But so Reggie Roby goes up to the special teams coach the night before this game, and we were playing the Jets up in that stadium, that terrible stadium up in New York. And I know. So we're playing the game, and he went to the special teams coach and said, you know what? I think Greg is a better long snapper than the other guy we have. I want him to snap for me tomorrow. And I wasn't thinking much of it. It was about 9 o'clock after our meeting, and we had an 11 o'clock curfew. And so the special teams coach comes up to me, Mike Westhoff, and says, Greg, you're going to be snapping tomorrow. And I kind of shook my head. I said, what? I'm a tight end. No, you're going to be long snapping for us tomorrow. And it's the only night in my entire football career where I did not get a wink of sleep the night before the game. I sat there. I had these big eyes because nobody knows, and everybody in this company, when you're behind the scenes, when you're the long snapper, they only know when you screw up. When the network goes down, they don't really care about you until there's a problem. When the network goes down, that's when there's a problem. That's why, you've done such a good job with your business over the last couple of years. So think about that in terms of Voxeo, though, the more you can do. So how do you, as an employee of Voxeo, as part of the team, you're not in sales, how do you become more salesy? And I'll tell you that the way a lot of people are not wired to be a salesperson, but I can tell you one thing, the more you know about all aspects of your business, all the different product lines, everything that you do, the more you know about it, the more you inquire about it, the more you'll be able to, it won't even be sales. It'll be, you're just talking about it, you're talking to somebody and say, we have this other product that does this. I mean, are you interested? And it's not a sales. It's not, hey, what, want to buy a watch? It's just part of your vernacular. It's part of. So I would challenge all of you to do more. The more you can do. So learn more about other aspects of the business. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, I spent 15 years of my life in Silicon Valley, and it really was amazing to me when I stepped off the elevator. And I tell this to Jonathan, but when I stepped off the elevator here. What is it, the 20th floor, your office? Stepped off the elevator into the Voxeo space, and I could swear I was in the heart of Silicon Valley. And I know you've got your Floridian style, and that's great, but there is something to be said for what leads to success in Silicon Valley, and it's all about culture. And when you step off the elevator, and I wish I could have people come visit you. I mean, other technology startups. I wish I could have them come and look at what you have on your floor and in your space, and it just exudes. It exudes confidence. It exudes the startup culture that you need to be successful. So don't lose that. As you're growing in sales, and don't lose that culture. And I'm happy to see that culture is such a big part of your business going forward. The last thing that I want to just talk about is. We made this investment in you. We didn't make this investment in the technology, IVR, platform. We invested in you, the people in this room, in Jonathan and his vision and all of you. I think Mark would agree with this, is that, people make a company, not the technology. How many people think that Google's technology is far superior to every other search engine that was out there? I don't think anybody would say that it's vastly superior. It's the people that executed it. It's the people that made Google what it is. I was fortunate enough to be at a company called Garage.com back in the heyday. It was we call ourselves a venture capital investment bank, but dealing with lots of early stage technology companies. And Guy Kawasaki, who was at Apple, he was the chief evangelist at Apple. He was the CEO of the company, and he tried to transform this company into a real deep technology company. He brought all these technologists in, and when I left, the company was kind of going downhill. And he said, "Greg, why are you leaving?" And I said, "You're taking the wrong approach here." He was turning it into a technology assessment company as opposed to a people assessment company. And when you invest in a company, you're investing in people. And never forget that. You're the people that are making, yes, some people are working on technology, some people are working on sales, some people are working on customer service, but it's the people that are going to make this the great success that Mark and I and everybody else in this room believe it's going to be. And don't ever forget that people win at the end of the day. And, you don't have to look at Apple and, you can look at Apple and Microsoft and say, okay, who had the superior technology? But at the end of the day, who kind of won? Who's the big 10,000-pound gorilla? Not the superior technology, the superior management team. So I'll leave you with that, but I'm very happy to have invested, very happy to be here today, and have a great day. Thank you.
Now let him go. Now Morris is going to go give us a little bit. You guys have heard from him once before. I've worked with this guy for quite some time, so I'll give you a little background on him.
So how many of you all, I hope you know this, since Anna's been here for a while, how many of you all have heard of Rackspace? Okay, good. When we started Rackspace, there was 3 young kids. These guys were 21 and 22 years old. I guess 2 22, 1 21. And I was with them, 2 of them this last week, and they're now 33, 34, something like that. So it makes me feel really old. When we started, it was just 3 guys. And literally, they were in a beautiful building similar to what y'all are in here, except we never let them go home. They would literally sleep on the floor. We sort of managed to re-outfit the bathroom so that they could more or less wash up there, and I would say kind of less. But that's where they were. The key thing that we found as we started growing is that we were at the right place at the right time. Now, that wasn't the first time that I was involved with something where I was at the right place at the right time. And I think it's worth noting that I have this feeling now with you guys that y'all are in the right place at the right time. And either y'all have been really smart or really lucky to choose to be here, but y'all are here. Now, the first time I was in the right place at the right time, I went to University of Texas, and I was the exact same age as this kind of heavyset guy who was in the computer business. And when he talked, as opposed to looking up like this, like I'm trying to do, he used to always keep his hands in his pockets, and he would kind of rock back and forth. And that's how he would talk. And I always kind of used to scoff at him, whatever. But sophomore year, I was in this entrepreneurship class thinking, well, I'm the entrepreneur, right? And the professor says, well, I'm going to have one of your classmates come back and he's going to talk to you. His name is Michael Dell. I remember rolling my eyes like, oh, God, I'm going to listen to Michael. So Michael rolls into the classroom and he starts telling his story, and he tells us all about his first year in business and how he's, taking IBM PCs and he's modifying them and he's putting in more RAM and more hard drives. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's really hard. It's really impressive. What are you actually creating? And sitting there and listening the whole time. And after about 40 minutes, he hasn't said any numbers. So I said, raise my hand. I said, so Michael, you just finished your first year. What kind of revenue did you do? And he goes, well, I don't really have any audited financials. I'm really not sure. I don't really, we're not really stating that. I said, well, give us an idea. So if it's not audited, what can you tell us? He said, well, we just finished our first year. He said, we did $25 million in sales. And I remember this feeling like, oh my gosh, like almost falling out of my seat. Now, I was in the right place at the right time. And if I had been a little less arrogant and a little smarter, I would have said, man, I am with you. Okay? Now, with Rackspace, and I remember telling the Rackspace kids the story that, guys, we're in the right place at the right time, except this time with hopefully a little less arrogance and a little more age, I was able to say, I know it. Okay? Guys, y'all are in the right place at the right time. Okay? You have people that have actually put their money where their mouth is that believe the exact same thing. Okay? One of the advantages that y'all have is they believe it so much. You know, we got money from a company called Sequoia Capital, and we raised about $10 million in one round and $12 million in another round. Now, these gentlemen just, Greg and Mark, they just invested, right? And they're here. I couldn't get the Sequoia guys to come to Rackspace for 6 years. Okay? Literally, after 6 years, I'm taking Doug Leone. I don't know if y'all know Doug Leone from Sequoia, but Doug, you know, he's got this heavy Brooklyn accent, and he comes in and he's down in the plane. He's like, you know, Morris, I'm glad to be here. He's like, I never even knew whether this was a real company or not. Y'all could have just been sending me financials all this time. I don't even know. And he's like, you know, I hope there's really a data center there. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And he's like, well, no, well, sort of, I'm kidding you. He's like, really, my partners really want me to see the data center and make sure that it's really there. It's like, oh my God. So you've got guys that are really smart, that are involved, that want to be involved, and guys, it's a big advantage. It's a big advantage. I feel like, you know, I was happy after I met Jonathan when I gave a speech that he said, you know, I really want you to come down and talk to us and work with us, and I said, okay. And you know, y'all have, I told Mark I wouldn't make any football analogies, but on every team there's an MVP, right? And y'all have one of our MVPs. You know, Anna really built our intensive hosting business, which was our most high-value customer. And does anybody in here know what the differentiator at Rackspace was? Huh? Fanatical support. And the idea of fanatical support, so we'll just do a little experiment here. To me, I think it's great to have good technology. Okay? I can tell you that even without good technology, as long as you can tell your story to the marketplace and you can own something in the customer's mind, you can still win. Okay? Because at Rackspace, quite frankly, we didn't always have the best technology, but we had very good positioning. We knew what we wanted to own in the customer's mind. What do y'all want to be? I mean, Jonathan said it earlier. Y'all want to be recognized as what? Hello? Is everybody awake? Everybody stand up for 1 second, please. Stand up. Stand up. Let's wake up. Because I'm only going to be talking for another 3 or 4 minutes. So, I mean, this is interaction. All right. Okay. Sit down. Okay. So, you don't have to stand up as long as y'all participate. All right. So, this is your defense to having to stand up again. All right. So, what is it that y'all want to be recognized as? The place, thank you. The place to develop communications applications. Can y'all say that? So y'all want to be recognized as what? That's right. Okay, and that's very different than being the best applications development environment or anything. In other words, y'all want the marketplace to be telling y'all that this is the place to do it. Now, Mark just made the analogy between Apple and Microsoft. I don't know which one is better. I mean, down here, clearly I would say Apple's better, right? But if I was in Redmond giving a speech, I'd say, well, Microsoft's better, right? It doesn't matter. Other than that, you have to own that in the customer's mind. You have to own that. So let's just go through 3 examples that I didn't do with the management team. If I say Excedrin, what is Excedrin? The headache medicine. The headache medicine. And if you go back, I challenge you all to go to YouTube and just go say, I wonder if there's an Excedrin commercial. You go look at Excedrin commercials from the 60s and 70s and early 80s, and all they say is, you know, Excedrin, the headache medicine. And it's about a 15-second spot over and over. Excedrin, the headache medicine. Another company that did that, I guess I'll show my age, right? Because we'll talk about another healthcare thing. If I say, how do you spell relief? R-O-L-A-I-D-S. And Mark, who was the spokesperson for Rolaids? Do you remember? Huh? Do you remember, Greg? No? Roger Staubach. He used to walk around with that notepad and he'd say, how do you spell release? And then they go, R-O-L-A-I-D-S. People spell, relief from acid indigestion, R-O-L-A-I-D-S. Okay. So when Jonathan said, I want you to come down and really start working with us, I said, okay, well, I want to start having y'all own something in the customer's mind. And at the time we had three things. It was extreme support, extreme, it was three different things, and I just kind of said, okay, I don't think, fanatical support actually caught wind because it was different than anybody had ever talked about in the technology marketplace. How many of y'all have recently called a computer company and gotten great support? Right? Okay, that was our experience too. So we thought by putting it out there and saying you were going to get fanatical support, that was our promise of what we would do when things went wrong. And people would literally say, okay, they're promising me fanatical support, I'm going to put them to the test. And using a lot of things that I'll just talk about briefly, we were able to do that. Okay? So, as we talked about Voxeo, this is really going back to last summer, we started talking about, and we had met some of the team members here, is this idea of customer obsession teams. Customer obsession teams, right? And it's really a three-legged stool because not only do y'all support the customer, okay, not only do you write the software that they're going to be using for their applications, but then you more or less integrate it for them. It's three legs to the stool, and without any one of those legs, this kind of falls down, and you start looking like Nuance or one of the other AT&T or West or some other company that's sort of half-baked. They don't have that whole thing. That customer obsession team that can handle all three legs of that stool is something that is really different. It's really different. Okay? And while we were on the phone, I remember people said, well, we're customer obsessed. And I said, well, wait. Customer obsessed sounds like it's in the past tense. Like, well, yeah, we were customer obsessed. And really, this is an ongoing thing because, tell me, have y'all stopped developing the software? Have you stopped running the data center? Or have you stopped doing premise applications? And have you stopped making sure that they're all three working together? No. So if you haven't, then this is really customer obsession, and it's going to continue to go on, and that's something that you can absolutely explain to customers and that you can own in their mind. Because I can tell you, the other companies, is West doing that? Is AT&T doing that? Is Nuance doing that? I don't think so either. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So the second one was open. And Jonathan talked to me about open in terms of the software, in terms of a corporate philosophy, in terms of having an open door. He let me step into his car, whatever. I mean, everything's open. So I sat there and I said, okay, open. And the one thing I didn't like about open is that it implies open source. And when I think open source, I mean, there's some aspects of it I like. I certainly like what, we had to pay for licenses with it. But there's a lot of things I don't like because it sort of seems half-baked. Okay? And really, as we drill down into it, this idea of unlocked is something that I think is really another powerful idea that you can own. So normally you can only own one idea, and you may end up sort of narrowing it down to one of these three, but it's another very, very thing that I think, it's very, very thing. It's something that's very unique to Voxeo in terms of unlocking communications. So give me an example. Somebody, who's the most tired up there? Raise your hand. All right, you're tired. All right, stand up. So tell me what unlocked means. What does unlocked mean? Yeah? Okay, so that's from a physical standpoint, that's what it means. Can anybody tell me what it means from a, thank you. Can anybody, it's all right. Can anybody tell me what it means from a software perspective? Not trapping the customer, right? So it's open XML. They can literally bring their application over, import it. If they want to export it, hopefully we'll never give them a reason to want to leave. But if they do want to leave, we will allow them to leave. We want them to stay because we want them to be here with us, as opposed to because we've got a lock on them. The way that some software companies, I hear this with SAP a lot. People feel like, man, I'm in SAP. I can't get out of SAP. I hate SAP. But I'm stuck. Oracle, I hear that a lot. Y'all have a different philosophy. And what it means is it means that it's going to make you work harder every single day. And we did a similar thing in that when we got into the hosting business, everybody signed one-year contracts. And I would sit there and talk to the team, and they'd say, this is really a problem. And I'd say, okay, guess what? We're going to do month-to-month contracts. Month-to-month. And the investors were like, whoa. What? You can't do month-to-month contracts because then the terminal value of the business, you're reducing the terminal value. And I'd say, no, I don't think so. By doing month-to-month, it means that the team is going to earn the customer's business every single month. Every month they're going to make them want to stay. And the minute that we had that change in philosophy and that change in attitude, it was astonishing because not only did we not lose customers, okay, but eventually customers would start saying to us, whoa. I know y'all do it month to month. I want a one-year contract because I don't want y'all to change the price. And I say, well, we've never changed the price on anybody ever. And they say, well, then great. Then you shouldn't be worried about being locked into that price. And it was a complete flip from what you would have expected. So, anyway, I think that this idea of being unlocked, of being open to letting people come and go and sort of putting it out there and saying we're going to earn our keep every day, very powerful, really strong, both from a corporate culture standpoint and from the software. All right, and then the last one is this idea of communications passion as opposed to extreme communications. I couldn't figure out what extreme communications meant. On the other hand, as Jonathan talked to me about his vision for the company and what RJ is doing, what Ryan's doing, and how y'all see it, and I don't mean to exclude John Amin or any of the guys, but as y'all talked about your vision and the acquisitions, I can tell you most companies that are at y'all size, they don't have that kind of a vision. They don't have the ability to put together these deals to combine all of those different elements and try to integrate them, and that's also very unique. And it just shows that y'all are thinking about this. The idea that you can have an application that works on a voice dial-up, right, IVR, and instantly port it so it'll work on SMS. Wow. You don't hear that from people. Really good. And I think that you can back up that third one. So those are the three. It's customer obsession, teams, unlock communications, and communications passion. All right. So, almost done. Who's ready to be done?
They're not done. They have a team building.
Oh, the team building. Okay, sorry. So the last thing I wanted to share with you is, so if you have all the elements, now you've got something, a story, and this is what I'm excited, and I'm sorry, I haven't introduced Enda. Stand up, please. This is Enda Flynn. Enda was with SBC and AT&T. Enda did all of the strategy and acquisitions, not all of them in the hosting space, internet space, but things like when SBC did their deal with Yahoo. So he's got a tremendous wealth of experience in growing those organizations and doing those kinds of acquisitions. But I'm excited about sharing some of the things. So at Rackspace, the first year we did something, we had $3 million in the bank. We had thought we were going to go public, but we didn't get to go public, okay, because the markets crashed. And with $3 million in the bank and burning $1 million a month, what do you think we had to do? Yeah? Become profitable. So literally, we did a thing, and we just sat down and we said, okay, we've got 3 months cash left, right? We have 130 employees at the time, something like that. What are we going to do? Project Profit. And it meant that we turned our expenses upside down from biggest to smallest and just started going through them. Anywhere we could cut, anywhere we could move, anything that we could defer, we did. And literally within 60 days, that company became profitable the way that I had always run a company, right? And we just kind of scaled it up to go public, and we never became unprofitable again. But that whole year, we worked on the systems that allowed us to manage to keep the company profitable. Things like flash reports, so that every week, like clockwork, we were getting a report on what were our expenses, what were our sales, where was everything going, just so we could manage the business. Second year, we said, okay, that was great. Now we're profitable. Now we want to focus on the customer. So we did Project Customer. And it was all about figuring out this customer experience. It meant that instead of sending a customer 12 emails, we were going to send them 2 emails. Okay? Instead of dropping a customer, because we kept on getting complaints like we would transfer them from accounting to customer service, they'd get dropped, they'd be upset. We got rid of all of those paper cuts. that were just kind of hurting the customers and hurting their loyalty to us. Third year, we did Project Racker, which was all about developing systems. Y'all are doing it. I think that when you the new row is an example of focusing on the employees and something that the employees need. So that was our third year. So these ideas of each year having a master project was really powerful. And y'all's is Project Sales. So the idea of being able to take this new messaging and really making it so that everybody in customer support or sales can start articulating this to the customers, prospects, existing people, it's fascinating what it'll do. Last point is that when Anna took over Intensive, the churn rate at Rackspace was industry standard for hosting companies, and we were still growing. We were growing 70% a year. But who can guess what our monthly churn was? No. It was 36%, 3% per month. Okay? And everybody would sit there and say, well, yeah, that's just standard. That's what it is in the cell phone business. It's what it is in telecommunications. Yeah, that's what y'all should expect. Okay? And just like Jonathan stood here and said, well, I think that our goal is crazy, we said, you know what, we want to turn that around. That's not good enough. We're going to stop that. And everybody said, well, that's crazy. And we said, well, our goal is going to be to turn a -3 into a +1. That's a 4% turn in churn. All right? And that means instead of losing 36% of your customers, you're going to grow your underlying customer base by 12%. And it took us almost 2.5 years to do it, but that's what Anna and all the other members of the management team, and this will go back to Greg, it was not the corporation doing it, it was all the people figuring out how to do the handoffs, how to do the system. That's what we were able to do. And the reason that Rackspace is going to do $650 million this year is because those systems were put in place that allowed the company to grow without losing 36% of its customers per year. Okay? Y'all have that same opportunity. I'm really excited to be involved. I hope y'all are as excited about Voxeo as I am, and it's going to be an exciting year, and I wish y'all luck.
All right. Ahoy, mateys! All right, you can do better than that. When I say ahoy, mateys, you guys are supposed to say, ahoy, Dev. See how that works? Let's try it once more. Ahoy, mateys! All right, now we're talking. Hey, just sit right back, and you'll hear a tale. A tale of a fateful trip that started from a tropic port aboard a tiny ship. Yeah. When you came in today, you were all assigned passage on a ship. Y'all know the name of your ship? What's the name of your ship? Yeah? All right. Any of you who are traveling on the Bounty today, please don't get any bright ideas, okay? This is going to go... All right. Now, we're talking... your ships have got some lofty names. Names like Columbia, Enterprise, Guppy. Now, while these names are lofty, these ships are not lofty. These ships represent to us old school telco ships. We are going on an old school telco junket cruise today. So we are out in the South Pacific, 1,000 miles from the nearest land. We're going to be up on the promenade deck today. Let's take a look around. Look at that sky. How blue it is. The sky is so clear today. The sun is out. Not a cloud in the sky. And look at that water. So blue today. Not hardly a wave out there. It's so calm. It's a lovely day. And look at Rob's face. It's so green today. I think he's seasick. Hey, let's order drinks. What do you say? Yeah, what kind of drink do you want? Shout it out. What? Yeah. All right. That sounds good. Hey, Francois is going down into the galley to fix us some drinks. Hey, while Francois is fixing his drinks, let's play some games, huh? So, hey, here's a good one. You guys all know how this goes. Marco! That game sucks. Hey, I know. Let's do a wave, all right? Okay, we're going to start over here, and we'll go across. Ready? Okay, you guys start. Ready? Go! Okay. Okay, clearly you guys don't understand the nature of the game wave. As it gets to you, it's not just the hands. You got to make the woo sound too. You got to go woo. All right, so let's start over there and go back the other way. Ready? Go! Woo, woo, woo. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Now let's start at the bottom and work our way up to the top. All right, ready? Go! Woo, woo. Oh, all the way up. Okay, now this time we're going to start in this corner and work our way up and back all at once. And wait a minute. What's that smell? You guys smell that? I think there's... No, there's smoke coming out of the galley. Hey, who ordered the flaming mold? Blake? Hang on. That ain't just smoke. There's a fire! Oh, no, a fire! Hey, everybody stay calm. Relax. You all have nothing to worry about because you have passed out. Now, while you're asleep, my lovely assistants will pass out the game cards that we're going to be playing today. These, be sure to share these with each other. You're going to each get a sheet of paper here that'll have the directions on them. Now, this is the game. As you'll notice on here, you have, when you awaken from your slumber, you find that the ship is not in quite as good a condition as it was when we started. In fact, it looks a lot more like this up here. You're kind of stunned, all right? Because, there's been a fire. The captain and the crew, they're all dead. It's just you guys now. You gathered up a few items here. You guys have got to prioritize your items. I'm going to put a picture of them up on the screen here so you see what they look like. Huh? Maybe I am. Is it this button? Maybe this one. That wasn't it. That one? No. This one. No. Nope. That ain't it. Huh? Oh. That ain't. Oh. That's not it. I think we missed that slide. All right, anyway, go by what's on the sheet there, all right? Now, your instructions are on the sheet. What you want to do, you're going to have a few minutes to work on this by yourself. Initially, you are so stunned that you cannot talk to the other people in your ship. All right? So, just look on the sheet. The object of this game is to figure out the importance of these items for your survival. You got a pencil there, and just order them in what you think from most important to least important. All right? You got about 10 minutes to work on this, and just think about it. Go through that. Don't talk to each other. You're working on these all by yourself. All right? Done? All right. For the next step here, you finally are coming out of your daze a little bit. You're starting to be able to talk a little bit. Oh. The shock is wearing off, and you're realizing that maybe you can get some help from some of these people that are around you. Find your shipmates. These are the people that are in the same ship as you. Ignore the ones that are in the other ships. They got their own problems to worry about. You're going to be working together as a team with the other people in the same ship as you to come up with one single list that you're going to submit to us. All right? So start working together as a team right now. if there's anybody that's alone, you can join a ship it's not completely full. There's more Nautilus down over here, guys. There's Nautilus down here. No, it's down here in the front row and over there. Pick one of your papers, and on the back, you will put the name of your ship. Put the name of your ship on the back of a piece of paper. Follow that with the names of each of the people on that ship. Every shipmate needs to be named on your piece of paper before you put your list. All right? Everyone in the ship. Then list your items in order by number and say why you choose that order. You're going to have about 10 minutes here, and then we're going to start slowing it down and talking about your decisions. Defend your individual choices or pay attention to the other people's choices. Feel free to ignore everything I'm saying now. I see you all working diligently up there. I'll sit here and watch you all working on this. I will, after we collect all of the papers. So as soon as they're done, you collect one from each ship. As soon as you have all of them in the queue, so you can't change them, then I'll go over to it. Actually, as you're collecting them, we're going to start asking them what they selected as the number one answer and why they chose them as the number one answer. Oh, okay. Yeah, you go as they're coming out with you. You know, I forgot to mention All right, I'm going to let you know when you got 5 minutes remaining. You got 5 minutes remaining. Bucket of bolts is starting to fall apart. All right, you got it? Hello? Hey, got about 2 minutes left. Yeah. All right, when you're done, make sure you have everybody's name on it, the name of your ship, and your answers in order. When you are done, raise your hand so you can turn in your sheet to the lovely assistants that are collecting the ship orders at this point in time. Are all the ship orders completed? All right. The last few are finishing up there. Now, if you finish early, you don't get to leave early, so hang on. There's still more to come. Row?
What?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. All right, do we have all the shipped orders yet? Not yet. I have written an Excel spreadsheet that I can put all the numbers in, and it'll automatically give me a score for what you gave as your result. I will have those results for you during lunch. Perhaps, depending upon the order. That's true. Looks like we're closing in on the last ship up there. That would be the Ship of Fools. 2 more ships. Oh, and there's one over here, Orlando. The SS Orlando is finishing the final touches on their orders. Get it? Ship's orders? Because it's the order of the... Oh, yeah. All right, that's it. Do we have them all? Writing names down. They're taking names over there. All right, is that it? Do we have them all? Up in the back, did we get all the ships? All right, Nautilus, what was your number 1 selection? The water? Why is that? Yeah, in case you get thirsty, right? There you go. Who else had water as their number 1? Oh, just about everybody. Okay, what did you have for number 1? Oh, nice. And why was that? Oh, that's a good choice. Anybody else have oil and mirror near the top for signaling purposes? Yeah. Mirror is good, yeah. So you're thinking about survival with the water. You're going to want to have water, and you're probably going to put food near the top of your list, and signaling, that's good. Well, hey, let's see what the experts have to say about this whole thing, huh? According to the experts in the U.S. Coast Guard, the basic supplies needed when a person is stranded mid-ocean are articles to attract attention and articles to aid survival until rescue arrives. Articles for navigation are of little importance since even if a small life raft were capable of reaching land, it would be impossible to store enough food and water to survive for the requisite amount of time. Oh, without signaling devices, there is almost no chance of being spotted and ultimately rescued. Furthermore, most rescues occur within the first 36 hours, and a person can survive with only a minimum amount of food and water during that period. So, the following is the order of ranking the items in their importance to your survival. Number 1, shaving mirror, critical for signaling. Number 2, a 2-gallon can filled with a mix of gas and oil, critical for signaling. The mixture will float on water and could be ignited with one of the dollar bills and a match. What the experts don't say is how you get away from this flaming oil slick, or what to do if the wind should push the life raft into the flames. Yeah, number 3, the 5-gallon can of water. So that's good. Necessary to replenish fluids lost through perspiration. That's sweat. Number 4, 1 case of Army rations, basic food intake. Number 5, 20 square feet of opaque plastic. can be utilized to collect rainwater and provide shelter from the elements. Number 6, 2 boxes of chocolate bars. Reserve food supply. What were you going to do with that much chocolate, Amy? Number 7, a fishing kit. Ranked lower than the chocolate because a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I don't remember birds being on the list. There is no guarantee you will even catch a fish. Number 8, 15 foot of nylon rope. Could be used to lash people or equipment together to prevent it from being washed overboard. Number 9, a floating seat cushion, life preserver if someone fell overboard. Number 10, shark repellent. Enough said. Number 11, 1 quart of 160 proof rum. Contains 80% alcohol, which is enough to be used as an antiseptic for any injuries. Otherwise, of little value. Who strongly disagrees with that? Yeah, Blake is still waiting for his flaming mo. Would cause dehydration if ingested. That's drunk to you and me. Hey, number 12, small transistor radio. Of no use without a transmitter. You would also be out of range of any radio station. Number 13, maps of the Pacific Ocean. Worthless without navigation equipment. It does not matter where you are, but where the rescuers are. Number 14, mosquito netting. There are no mosquitoes in the mid-Pacific Ocean. As for fishing with it, well, stick with the fishing kit. Number 15, sextant. Useless without the relevant tables and a chronometer. Ahoy, mateys! Yeah, I almost forgot, didn't you? Let's try one last time, all right? Ahoy, mateys! Hey, what's that on the horizon? What's that on the horizon? What is it? No, that ain't it. It's a PowerPoint presentation. Somebody's getting it for me. What's that on the horizon? It's a scroll bar. It's... Hey! Huh! Look, it's a ship. Hey, what's the name on the side of that ship? Why, it's the SS VoxeoAnnualKickoff. Hey, let's see if we can get their attention. Someone flash the mirror at them. Someone light the gasoline on fire. Someone take a shot of rum. No, wait. Let's try yelling to see if we can get their attention. When I say Vox, you say ale. Vox! 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 Yeah, it's working. I think they see us. We're saved. This is where you should cheer because we're saved. Yay! The SS VoxeoAnnualKickoff is now here to take us out of the water, away from that old school telco junket, and sail us away to success, into the future of communications. Everyone dry yourselves off. For some reason, we got all wet in the lifeboat when someone, and I'm not naming names, Alex, was trying to catch fish with the mosquito netting. Hey, once you're on board the VoxeoAnnualKickoff there, make your way all the way up to the top where there's plenty of food waiting for us. The whole crew will be joining us for lunch with a very special dessert too. So sail on, VoxeoAnnualKickoff, sail into 2010, our best year ever. Aroo! Hoist the sails! Here we go! Yay! All right. Now, you'll notice sitting next to you there are stickers. Don't forget to take your stickers. All right? And bring your pins down and hand them in as you leave, too. Those stickers can be put on anything. Well, not your dog. Yeah, don't forget your shirts. Pick up your trash. Lunch will be upstairs at the plaza, back at the office. Arr.